Greens are absolutely nutritional powerhouses, and they are the great detoxifier. All of the greens are going to be filled with nutrients, vitamins and minerals, chlorophyll. It's like eating sunshine. They help prevent cancer, heart disease. I already said that they are great detoxifiers, but they're good for your brain, they're good for your eyes. They're just wonderful. So let's talk about how we can get more of them into our diet by making it easier to prepare and store them. Okay, we'll start with the easier ones. Well, first of all, one thing I do want to say, when you buy greens, try to buy organic, because they're very nutritious and they're filled with all kinds of good things, but they also tend to accumulate high levels of the pesticides and the residues of the herbicides, things like that. So try and buy organic greens when you can. Now, for storing them, let's start with the easiest. If you buy romaine lettuce hearts and they come in this bag that's resealable, just store them right in that bag. Use them up as needed, keep it sealed, put it in your refrigerator. Easy peasy. Leeks are pretty easy too. When you buy the leeks, they just, you pick them up in the grocery store and you buy them or put them in the bag. Just store them in your bag. Now take off any twist tie or clip that you have and just lightly kind of tuck it under. Put it in the refrigerator. It'll last a week or two just like that. So those are super easy to store. All right, and then we have some asparagus. For the asparagus, you want to get rid of the little rubber bands that usually come around it. And then I like to cut off the very ends of the stalks. And I do that because I want, it's sort of like putting a bunch of flowers in a vase. You want them to be able to absorb water and stay fresh. Well, I'm going to put my asparagus in a vase, if you will. Only my vase is going to be, I have a mason jar and I have about 1 inch of water. So I'm just going to put my asparagus in here and let it stand up straight. I'll just pack it in, and usually I can get a whole bunch of asparagus in one mason jar. Yep. And there's just a little bit of water in there. Then I can cover it up with the bag that I put them in at the grocery store. Just kind of loosely covering, and then they can set in the refrigerator just like that. Now, they'll keep quite a while that way, but you do want to change the water out about every 3 days or so if you are going to be storing them, for a week or so. Then let's move on to some leafy greens. So, oh no, let's do the green onions first here. Boy, green onions are just the worst for me. It seems like no matter what I do, they go bad. So what I found is I'll just take the rubber band off of them to give them a little more room to breathe, and then put them back in the plastic bag. And again, I don't wrap the twist tie around it. I just lightly fold it over and then put it in the crisper. And they're good for maybe 3 or 4 days that way. But other than that, I usually flash freeze them. And that's the same thing that I do with my herbs, my parsley and cilantro. And so there's a video on flash freezing the herbs. Do the same thing with your green onions. Okay, then we'll move on to the dark leafy greens. So I've got a bunch of kale here, and I'm going to just untie the little tie wrap that it's in. And I'm going to go ahead and clean my greens because I like to have them all prepped and ready. I'm more likely to eat them if I don't have to stop before every meal and do this whole process. So to wash off the kale, you can just dunk it in, if you have a sink full of water, or run it under running water, or I've just got a bowl of water here. Give them a few good swishes here, and then shake off the excess. And then I use you can use a tea towel or a cheesecloth, or this is just a utility towel here that I have. So I lay it out on my counter. It's a nice long rectangle. And then I put my greens lay them on the tea towel. I get rid of any little yellowish or darker colored of the greens. And usually I can get one bunch of greens in one of my utility towels here. Looks like that's the way it's going to be today. And then I just start rolling it up like a little jelly roll. And then pop it right back in the bag that it came in. And again, I don't twist tie it, I just lightly wrap it up and then put it in the refrigerator. So what I'm doing, the purpose of the tea towel there is to absorb the moisture because I'd already washed it. Now, if you didn't want to wash them first, what you could do is just, still you want to unwrap these twist ties because they just cause lots of sliminess down there. So if you didn't want to wash it first, just unwrap the twist ties and then store it in the bag that it came in. Again, flipping it over. Okay. So I like my first method better. They'll both last a good long time, but this first method, they're already washed, so it's even quicker. I'm just saving that extra couple of minutes when I go to get my meal ready. So that's why I prefer to do it that way. Now, you can also flash freeze kale. So that's another option. If it's on sale and you buy 2 or 3 bunches of it and you're not going to eat it within a few days, I mean, these will keep for up to a week, I would say. But if you have more than that, you can flash freeze it as well. Again, look at the video on the herbs. It's the same thing. You just lay your greens out in a single file, let them freeze, either chop them up or break them up and put them in a bag to store. So there are lots of ways to make it simple to prep your meals and to have all these great nutritious ingredients handy so that you can have quick meals that are satisfying, that are delicious, nutrient dense, good for your belly, good for your body, good for your detox.